Hey everybody, this is Grok.IT, episode 4. My name is Brandon. I'm here with my co-host Spot. Say hello.
Hello.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you again. Anyway, so this has kind of been a not I don't want to say a slow week for like news and happenstance, but it seems slow.
It's okay, I don't like news anyway. I would rather talk about my own heart's desires.
If you're gonna like start talking about how painting speaks to you, I'm gonna hang up right now.
No, I wouldn't. However, I will say that when I was like, how old was I? I don't know, 8, 9. I did oil painting. I went to oil painting classes.
How?
My teacher, my teacher there said I had great promise. In fact, there are several paintings of mine that were hanging in my aunt and uncle's house, but then my aunt passed away year before last. And but yeah, I don't think they're that good, but they all think that they're great. But you know, I stopped because it is really boring, and I apologize to anyone out there who loves oil painting, but oh man.
Could you paint me?
Like one of my French boys?
Yes.
No, but yeah.
I mean, I got a picture you could use.
You know the problem with oil painting?
What?
It's the cleanup.
Oh.
You know, oil and water don't
Oh.
really mix. Yeah, so you can't really use water to clean them. It's all turpentine and all that crap, and it is a massive. It's bad. Yeah. Anyway, so it's probably better with watercolors. Although
yeah, I'm not artistic at all, so it doesn't matter.
Actually, you know what's really interesting? I'm not artistic either at all. I mean, I can shoot some photography, but like draw or anything, and like seriously, looking back at those paintings, I'm like, I must have been just copying someone because no way. So.
Anyway, so starting out today. This has to be like the worst segue ever, but I can't actually think of.
If I did still paint, though, I might paint you as one of my French boys.
Oh my gosh!
If I had French
best
boys.
day ever. Everybody go home. We're done. So a question for you, because me and my buddies were talking about this until the wee hours of the morning the other night.
I'm not one of your buddies.
Yes, you're one of my. Every time I bring up another person, you get jealous.
I'm very possessive.
I am a free
What's your question?
Spirit. Anyway.
That's for sure. We're on the street. Well, never mind. Anyway, what's your question?
Gaming experiences. Like the things that you do in video games. You're just like, yeah, I am awesome. Nobody can touch me, unless it's a pretty lady.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
We were talking about those the other night, and we had one of these. So have you played Guild Wars at all, like the original Guild Wars?
Uh-huh.
Okay, so you
didn't really stick for me, but yeah, I like Guild Wars 2 a lot more.
Oh yeah, it's great. But so you know how you can like make your own builds and everything in that game.
Mm-hmm.
Well, so I made a build, and it was honestly something I threw together to just kind of have fun and whatnot. And I didn't expect it to work at all. I expected to die multiple times. But so we were in alliance battles, which is it's a big PvP thing, and I was Kurzik, and the Luxons were always known for just forming mobs and going out together. And so
okay.
they so I'm going, and I was high survivability with this build, and so I go, and I must have had like 90% of all of the people on in the battle, like on the opposing team on me at one time, and my health wasn't dropping below 90%. And
wow.
Yeah, I don't even remember like how it happened. I just had so many different heals to choose from, and then I could do like I had one or two attacks in there that would reflect damage back. And so, like, I'm just sitting here at one of the points, well, my buddies are all just going around just kind of like, where is everybody? I'm like, just go, cap everything you can. I got them.
Very nice.
And the fact that I was able to hold them for like 3 minutes without dying.
That's really awesome. How long ago was that?
Ooh, this was a few years ago. It was back when I was in high school, so like 4 years ago, 5 years ago.
Wow. That's impressive. Yeah. I don't think I've ever had anything that good happen in an MMO actually, like where you just feel invincible. I remember actually playing like 12-hour sessions of StarCraft with my cousin Ian. This years ago, years and years ago. It was the first StarCraft, and I think it was even before Brood War came out. Um, Broodware. That would be an interesting name for a company. Anyway, yeah, and when I say 12-hour sessions, I mean 12-hour games. We would get in these co-op games where we would co-op against several Zerg computers set
Oh
to
wow.
hard. Yeah, and the Zerg were really OP if they were set to hard,
Yeah.
and I'm much more of a less strategic, more of a setup base and massive defenses type person.
Mhm.
And Ian would always claim I would go into turret boy mode, is what he called me, because I would play Protoss and I would just start putting down massive turrets. Just, I mean, literally like blanketing the ground with them. It almost looked like turret creep. Uh,
Oh gosh.
and you know, and the Zerg have units which can get through those, but it takes them a long time. And there's my phone again because I'm unprofessional and forgot to turn it down. Oh, wonderful. Anyway, but yeah, so we ended up having some really awesome gaming sessions. I mean, like really epic. And one was about 12 hours long, and we actually started playing at the office on a Friday evening, and we were there the next morning, still playing the exact same game.
Oh
And
wow.
it was really awesome. Yeah, because we would push, and the computer would push back, and we'd push, and the computer would push back, and finally we won it. But it took forever. It was great.
I
So,
love those moments.
oh, they're awesome. Yeah, we used to play StarCraft in the office multiplayer with a bunch of people. And I remember this one time, a friend of ours, Tom, was there, and he was playing Terran, and my cousin Ian loved to play Protoss. And I told Tom because we were on teams, and I told Tom, I'm like, Ian loves to do carrier rushes, like massive carrier rushes. He's like, okay, I've dealt with those before. I'm like, no, 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 you don't understand, okay? Ian will pour every resource he has into building every carrier he can. He will hit his population cap with nothing but carriers and wipe the floor with you. And he's like, oh, okay. And I didn't know if he believed me or not. So we're playing and blah, blah. And so Ian like builds up all these carriers and he like sweeps down through the map and just starts just plowing through everyone, and he gets to Tom's base, and Tom obviously believes me because he spent almost every amount of resource he had building nothing but turrets, and it was just fields and fields of anti-air turrets, and it was amazing because I have never seen a group of carriers that huge just decimate out of the sky. It was amazing. Like the frame rate just dropped to almost nothing because there were so many items in the air. But yeah, that was really awesome.
That
Some
reminds me.
great
Um.
times with StarCraft.
Oh yeah. Playing. What was it? Red Alert 2. With
Mm,
people. And so
yeah.
it was a 4v4, and we quickly took out one of the people. I think he was new, and I kind of felt bad at the time, but I don't anymore because well he should know better. And so it's me and this guy, and I say, you know, hey, let's ally with each other. You attack the front door, and I'm gonna go in with an army of engineers through the back door and just systematically take him out. He's like, oh, good,
Hell
great,
yes.
great idea, great idea.
And not demolish, actually
Yeah.
take the
Oh yeah.
stuff. That's awesome.
You. Yeah. And so he does that, and the plan works perfectly. What he didn't know was I only sent a fraction of my force in, and so while
Oh
his
no, he didn't.
entire force is attacking the front door of this base, I just send like probably like a good 60%, which of my force, which was a good amount, just straight through the side of his base, and with a bunch of engineers, because I didn't want to start destroying stuff. I just wanted to take it over. Um,
It's so wrong.
oh my gosh, but it was so
Such
good. The
bad
betrayal
form.
on his like you couldn't see him obviously, but he's like, dude, what are you doing, dude? What are you? Oh, hey, you don't have any power plants anymore, dude. What's going? Oh man, you can't build infantry or vehicles. Man, that sucks.
Oh, dude,
But
that's so wrong.
thanks for taking care of the other guy for me. And he just quits.
I don't blame him. Were you guys actually like allied? Like, were you on
No,
the same team?
No.
Oh
I
wow.
we just middle of round. I'm like, hey man, let's ally and take these guys out. And then
Mm.
we can have a nice fight with each other. And he's like, yeah, yeah, yeah. And well,
See,
don't trust me.
that was back before you had to worry about things like the social aspect of games, where somebody could actually rate you,
Yeah.
and other people would see, so you could be an ass and get away with it.
Well, and that's part of
That's
the
funny.
strategy, though. You
Oh,
know.
absolutely. Yeah. Actually, that's one of the reasons why I like Eve so much. I don't get to play it enough, but I mean, like, knowing that you're in a world where you can pretty much do anything, and that the mechanics of the game are designed to let you do as much as you possibly can, is just amazing. You know,
Oh
it's
yeah.
I think one of the most epic moments I had in my gaming history, at least, was and I haven't got to play Eve enough, right? So I haven't had enough of these. I'm sure there's people out there that have much more epic things happen to them in Eve, but I was with my corporation was in a larger alliance, and we were doing this massive move across the sector. And it was known that there was this another alliance that we were at war with, that they might be camping some of the gates. And if you're not familiar with Eve, people can camp gates with like warp disruptors and things like that, so that you can't get, and they'll just hit you hardcore, etc. And uh, we were all moving in a group, because you want to move in a group, the whole strength in numbers
Hmm.
thing. So if there was a camp at the gate, there were enough large ships with us that we could put up a proper defense. And something happened, and the person who was leading the move across the gate, the majority of the group jumped, and then we didn't jump for like another minute and a half. And when we jumped in, uh, uh, they had just locked down the gate on the other side, and it was this massive firefight. But we didn't have enough ships with us,
Oh
and
no.
people were getting locked down left and right. And I thought I was going to get far enough away that I could actually jump out, and it just wasn't happening. Right at the end, I was like, "Oh my god, I'm going to make it! I'm going to make it!" Because they're distracted with everyone else, and I got hit with something and got disabled, and then got potted, which in Eve terms is more or less like absolute death. And I had, because I was really working on training skills as fast as possible, I had like 250 million ISK worth of implants in my head,
Oh
which
no.
you lose if you get potted, because they're in that body. Yeah, it was really hectic. Yeah, but it was really awesome though. I mean, it's one of those things when that stuff starts happening, the adrenaline is just so high that like it ends and you're just almost shaking because the adrenaline's
Yeah.
so awesome.
You're just like, how did that just happen?
Yeah, it's almost like you're really pissed off that it happened, but at the same time, you wouldn't have traded it for anything, because the experience alone was just amazing. So
Yeah, that
yeah.
that's happened with me and my buddy once again in Guild Wars, where we would duel each other, and we would spend like 10 minutes just sitting like our backs to each other on our computers, just trying to find the best build that we could to defeat the other person, and just setting it up meticulously. And then we'd be like, okay, let's do this, and our entire guild and alliance is like watching us, and we were known to be good players. And so we're sitting there, and so we just kind of turn around and say like, okay, do it, and go in. And it was like he won the first go, and then I won the second go, and stuff. And so with each little thing, you tweak your build a little bit to see how to get that little edge. And the last one had to be a good like 7 minute battle, which was a good long battle. I could usually win against people in like a minute or so, and just us back and forth. I'd get him down, and then he'd get me down, then I'd get him down, and everything like that. And like the adrenaline is just pumping, because whoever wins this just wins it all and stuff. And so our adrenaline pumping, and he ended up winning, and I'm just like, I was mad, but like it was exciting. And
That's awesome.
like,
Yeah,
and so
it's
afterwards,
one of
like,
those things where you wouldn't have traded it,
yeah.
even though you lost.
Well, afterwards, he's like, "Oh my gosh," and the stuff. I'm like, I know, and he goes, "My hands are shaking. Literally, they are shaking. I was so nervous."
Those are awesome experiences.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, actually, one more, and probably I would say for me, and this wouldn't ring true for a lot of people, but for me, one of the most um, interesting things in games and MMOs uh, that I want to do is I want to be able to put my mark on the world, right? Which you don't get to
Mhm.
do in hardly any MMOs, right?
Yeah.
You may have housing, but it's instanced housing, right? And you can have, it's always something that can scale, right? It's
Yeah.
understandable. It's like you can't have 4,000 people to doing the same thing, and it be visible to everyone because then you have these massive issues. Well, one of the games that actually did that really amazing was Star Wars Galaxies, which is one of my favorite games of all time,
Yeah.
and uh, I guess my probably most amazing gaming experience is just because this was possible, right? Is that I had actually rolled a character which was an entertainer. It was in entertainers in Star Wars Galaxies. If you're not familiar, they dance and they more or less they're kind of like bards
Mhm.
in that they dance and through their dances they buff. And so, and in Star Wars Galaxies, when you were out in the field and you were hunting and doing combat and stuff, you would accumulate battle fatigue, and battle fatigue caused you problems, right? And to actually get rid of battle fatigue, you would actually go and sit in front of a dancer at like the local cantina, right? And
Hmm.
they would dance, and it wasn't just dancing. They actually had all these flourishes they could do, and they could chain them together and all this stuff. And you would tip them and all this stuff. It was actually one of those games, one of the very few games I've actually seen where they take a non-combat um,
That's really cool.
class and make it into something that's really awesome. And while you were sitting around, you'd have conversations with people. It was literally like one of the only MMOs I've ever played where you would actually sit around and have conversations with people. And it was very entertaining and awesome. And music's playing. It was really awesome. Anyway, one of the coolest experiences other than that was I was an entertainer, and each character in Star Wars Galaxies gets a certain amount of lots, right? Because almost everything you put down in Star Wars Galaxies is actually there. If you buy a house, you can put it down in the world and anyone can see it, right? If they
Yeah.
run out to the field, it's possible they might run by your house, right? And you can put up a shop that way, right? And a lot of times if you want to shop at a certain person's shop, you have to literally find it on the map and go out there to it, which is absolutely amazing, right? In my book. And because it's actually a mark on the world. Like you can go buy that, you don't know whose it is, you see their name on it, you don't know who they are, but you've been right past their house or their shop, etc. So you have lots, and the amount of lots determined how much stuff you could put down in the world, right? Well, entertainers didn't have much use for lots, right? Because you could do a house, but that was really about it, and a
Yeah.
lot of people didn't because they didn't care. Well, so I found out that somebody approached me while I was dancing one time in this cantina, and they represented someone that wanted to rent my lots from me. And the whole thing about it is in Star Wars Galaxies, when you put stuff down, there were access lists, so you could give anyone access that you wanted. And
Yeah.
what this guy was he was a chef, and it was one of the professions in Star Wars Galaxies. And chefs could make food that were massive buffs, right? In fact, at the time, there weren't a lot of chef type class professions out there. Now
Yeah.
there's more, probably because of that somewhat. But anyway, they could do massive buffs, and but they needed lots of resources, and a lot of the resources in Star Wars Galaxies were got from they're obtained from putting harvesters and stuff down in certain zones, but they took lots, right? So
Gotcha.
his organization was interested in leasing these lots from me, okay? And so I was like, oh, okay, yeah, sure. And they would pay me weekly to use these lots, and I wasn't using them anyway. And I'm like, you'll just pay me to you? Okay, great. And so I went out with this representative. I never met the chef, right? I went out with this representative of theirs. They gave me the harvesters because you have to put them down yourself. I put them down. I put them on the access list, and they gave me cash. And they just
Nice.
started giving me cash, and I'm like, wow, that's really cool. But still, never met the chef, right? Then I'm like, I tell this person, I'm like, I know a lot of entertainers because I'm here all the time. Is there any type of like referral thing if I got them and blah blah blah? And they're like, oh yeah. So we worked out this deal where I would actually get other entertainers to lease their lots that they weren't using, and I would get a cut percentage of what they were getting paid, right?
Nice.
Okay. And then they were like, so I got to this point that I didn't even know exists, that I got to a certain level in the organization where he has this network all over multiple planets in Star Wars Galaxies with all of these buff foods that he has, and you get automatic discounts to all this stuff. And it just like it kept opening up more and more, and like I kept interfacing with more and more people, and by the time I was done, I was interfacing with like 30 different people, and I had never met him, right? and
Yeah.
and this isn't this isn't like mechanically driven. He had the game supported the variety, right, to allow you to set up a network like this. And he was paying all these people. And he had payroll people, and they moved the funds around, and there were people that restocked the shops, and all. It was absolutely amazing. And I've never had that type of experience where you had a player-driven anything, right, that wasn't completely game mechanic supported in any other game. The closest thing would be Eve. And I mean, I've never personally experienced that, but I know people have. And it's just games like that are amazing. And so that right there was probably my most epic experience. And I guess it didn't require any fighting or anything like that. It was just the fact that a player could set up something that grand in an online game, and it worked so well. And it touched and affected so many other real people, if that makes sense.
That is really cool.
Yeah, it's literally like one of the coolest stories I've ever told people, and a lot of people are like, "So you didn't shoot anyone?" And I'm like, "Well, no, it wasn't like that, but it was really amazing." Anyway.
So May 21st, Microsoft is supposed to announce the next gen Xbox, which
Yes.
I kind of miss the days where they didn't say, "Hey, we're announcing this." They just kind of said like, "Hey, we're having a press release." You know, because then, like, there would be all these rumors, like, is it going to be this? Is it going to be this? And it hyped itself. But so they're dubbing it a new generation revealed. Or a new generational revealed. I don't know. And they're going to stream it online and everything as well.
And Spike.
Yeah, on Spike and on Xbox Live and all that kind of stuff. And so, one of the things I found interesting, that the new Xbox is going to be like $500 or $200 with a a 2-year contract with Xbox Live subscriptions.
So it's subsidized.
Yeah. So yeah. I thought that was pretty cool, because there are people who are going to do that anyway. So
sure, absolutely. It's a good idea.
Which I'm excited for this new Xbox. And one of the things that they've come out and they said, like, look, the new Xbox is going to be always on, but the way we're doing it isn't going to be as bad as, everybody thinks, it is. Which makes it sound like, they're saying, like, look, we just want you to be able to say, hey, like, periodically, like, hey, I'm here to the servers.
Really? Is that what they said?
I mean, they've come out and they said it's not as draconian as many seem to believe. So it seems like it's really going to be just a small little thing that they're doing.
Interesting. Very interesting.
Yeah, which I mean, that's cool. Like, maybe even just like a once a day. Like, hey, I'm here, because with what they did with Zune software is, once a month you had to plug in your Zune to your computer and run it with the software. And that was if you had like if you use the Zune Pass to get like unlimited music or whatever, then once a month you'd plug it in and you'd basically say like, hey, I'm still here, I'm still, paying for this and everything, and it'd update all of your content to say, okay, yeah, you're still cleared to have all this content on here, and then that's it. You could be offline for another month, and never plug it into another computer.
Oh, okay. Yes. So they just upgrade the timestamps on your licenses and stuff.
And so I'm wondering if it's going to be like that, where they just kind of say like, okay, yeah, we just updated everything. You're still good to go. Play whatever you want.
Yeah. Well, I mean, the thing about that though is that's great, and that sounds like less. But the thing is it's one of those things where, so what that means is, if you buy a game, right, and then you decide to go, who knows, you're going to go off on a vacation somewhere for a few months, right, and you're not going to have net access. That means that let's take a month, for example. A month after you leave, your game stops working. The game you bought.
Yeah. I mean, I get that. At the same time, if you're able to go somewhere like on vacation for a month, I feel like you're gonna be able to have, at least an hour of net time.
Well, yeah. I mean, it depends if you go on a Safari,
Yeah,
uh, But then how much are you going to be using your Xbox? I think,
exactly.
I think again, I think that there is a huge point to this, right? And that is that if you lose your net connection, like I did over a few days this week, damn you AT&T, then you're not going to not be able to play any of your games, right?
Exactly.
I actually started up my PlayStation 3 and started playing Ratchet and Clank, and I was telling my roommate, I'm like, you know what? With the new Xbox, I probably won't be able to do this because AT&T was out. Um, so that's good to know, and I think that's
Yeah.
smart. And so I think if it's like a month thing or a week thing, it's probably fine.
Yeah.
I mean, I think that the other issue though is people not liking being tethered at all. It's it's a change, right? But again, it's one of those things where if they had started this way in the very beginning,
Mhm.
no one would be bitching.
Exactly.
It's the fact that it's different, So uh, I'm not saying that makes it right or wrong. I'm just stating a lot of the ranting and the fanfare is not. I
Yeah.
don't think it's actually what people claim it is. It's just that they fear change.
Well,
Um,
yeah.
so, but again, the old adage says, just because you're paranoid doesn't mean there's not someone out to get you.
Exactly.
So there you go.
Well, a lot of people like are already saying like people are ready for this. Like Ubisoft's Malin, head of Montreal Studios, basically said like people are ready for always online. And you think about it, like I rarely turn my phone off. I am always connected, and with so many phones nowadays able to become Wi-Fi hotspots,
Hmm.
like, and
Sure. I I
with
think that
Xboxes
I think that
already able to do Wi-Fi, why can't I just hotspot Xbox? Do what you need to do. Good to go.
yeah, sure. Yeah, the I think that, and I don't know what he meant by this exactly, but obviously I think the majority of people who have Xboxes are technically ready for always on. I don't
Yeah.
think that's the problem. I think the problem is psychologically ready for
Yeah.
always on. It's a thing where most people are always on now,
Mhm.
even with their 360, which is what you were just saying, right? But it's the fact that you come and say you have to keep that always on. That's the problem people have.
Yeah. Exactly.
Um, and I think a lot of that is obviously it's worse with Americans because we don't like being told what to do. That's just kind of a thing we haven't grown out of yet. Our country
British
isn't
learned
like
their
us.
lesson.
Well, actually, I mean, as you say that, as it's funny, that is kind of part of the American
Yeah.
thing. Don't tell us what to do, right? But because we're a very young country, so we're still in that we don't like authoritative type thing going on.
Yeah.
That's part of the gun lobby thing, you know. Um, uh, but I was going to say something really interesting here. It was going to be very profound. It wasn't going to be profound, but I'm going to claim it's profound because I can't remember what it was. But it was interesting nonetheless. Did you notice, by the way? I don't know if you went to Microsoft's actual site for the reveal,
I
but it
haven't.
has this. It has this slideshow thing about more or less the climb of Xbox, right? And it starts at the very first Xbox and all this stuff, and then the start of Xbox Live and blah blah blah, and it lists like probably 10 different games. Obviously Halo, Halo 2, Halo
Yeah.
3, Gears of War, blah blah. And one of the games they list on there is Minecraft, which I just thought was a bit funny. I mean, I
Yeah.
get it. I'm just like, really? Okay, that's interesting.
Well, everybody, it's getting to be about that time that we wrap this up. As usual, we love feedback. So honestly, in the comments or video response or ghost signals, not ghost signals. I guess ghost signals. Yeah. Smoke signals. Um, Morse code. Let us know. What's a favorite gaming experience of yours, or even your top 5 games. Tell us how much we are wrong in
Absolutely.
what we've decided.
Contrary to popular belief, we like being told why we're wrong,
Yes, because then I
and
get to
we'll
argue
also
back.
accept carrier pigeon.
Uh, yes, yes, yes. That is.
In
I
fact, I
set
think we
that up
prefer
yesterday.
carrier pigeon, don't we? Yeah.
Yeah, I set that up yesterday, so we do now get carrier pigeon.
Awesome.
Um, we are always open to new hosts. So we have email down below. Feel free to send us a link to like uh your just a clip of yourself talking. Maybe upload it to SoundCloud and send us that link, please. don't send us the actual file because it can get like messed up in the sending and it just doesn't sound good. Am I missing anything?
Yeah, we don't want you to accidentally sound like us. That
Yeah.
would that would suck. We want you
That
to sound better than us.
yeah, the worse you are, I guess the worse it is. Like don't sound bad. We want this to be good quality despite what we sound like.
So do as we say, not as we do. That's what we're saying.
Exactly.
Hmm.
Like a good example is we never give ourselves money, so you should give us money.
I don't know exactly how that logic works out, but I'm willing to go with it.
Yeah, just go with it.
Hmm. Yeah.
Um. Anyway, so have a great morning, evening, night, afternoon, whenever you're listening to this. Have a great one, and thanks for listening.
Yeah. Cool.